The kitchen. In the kitchen, there are many objects. We can put all of our dirty dishes in the dishwasher, and it cleans everything for us. Unfortunately, the machine is broken for now, so we have to clean everything in the kitchen sink by hand with washing liquid and a dishcloth. This is the sink. This is a dishcloth, and this is washing liquid. After dishes have been washed, we place them in the dish rack so that the water drains off them. Here is a dish rack. We then use a small tea towel which we keep near the sink for drying the dishes once they have been washed. Here is a tea towel. We have a small kitchen, so we hang all of our pots and pans from a pot rack. Below the wall, we keep a small spice rack stocked up with cumin, curry powder, and dried pepper, some of my favorite ingredients to use when I cook. I use a wooden spatula to stir the pasta sauce while it is heating up in the pot. In the picture, this is a metal and plastic spatula. A saucepan is another way to say pot, and it is good for making sauces or boiling vegetables. When I want to make scrambled eggs on toast for breakfast, I first use an egg beater to mix the eggs together before cooking them in a frying pan. Egg beater, frying pan. I then use a toaster for the bread. For Christmas, my grandmother uses a large roasting pan to cook the turkey for the whole family. We put our milk and drinks in the refrigerator to keep them cool. We keep our ice cream in the freezer so that it doesn't melt. Food that doesn't need refrigeration can be stored in the cupboard. In many countries, it is common to have two different faucets at one sink, one for cold water and one for hot water. In the United States, there is normally only one faucet in the sink. In many countries outside America, faucets are called taps. In British, it is a tap. You can find beautiful chopping boards made of wood at artisan fairs in the south of Chile. We use our chopping board to cut meat and dice potatoes, tomatoes, so that we don't damage the kitchen bench. Rather than throw leftovers or scraps of food in the trash, I throw them in the garbage disposal, which is under the sink.
Here's a quick overview that shows how a food waste disposer works. Many people think a disposer works like a blender, with spinning blades chopping and breaking down the waste. In reality, disposers work in a different way, and there are no blades involved. Instead, impellers or lugs mounted on a spinning plate use centrifugal force to continuously force food waste particles against a stationary grind ring. The grind ring breaks down the food waste into very fine particles, virtually liquefying them. After they're ground, the running water flushes the particles through the grind ring and out of the disposer and into your wastewater pipe. From there, it flows to a wastewater treatment plant or your septic system. Food waste disposers are an environmentally responsible alternative to typical disposal methods like landfills, and they can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Food waste is even being turned into renewable power by many wastewater treatment plants, and the biosolids processed into fertilizer used by farmers, golf courses, and home gardeners.
I hate instant coffee. I only like coffee made in a real coffee maker with ground coffee beans. I use a small teaspoon to add the coffee and sugar to my cup. And I add water and some milk and stir the contents with the same teaspoon. I don't have a kettle or an electric jug to boil the water. I put a cup of water in the microwave to heat it up. Good chefs say that food tastes better when cooked on a gas stove rather than an electric one, though they are both better than using a microwave oven. This is gas stove, electric stove, and microwave oven. I am still learning how to cook. I use a cookbook to explain all of the directions needed to make something. Some of the recipes are difficult and require tools. For example, a food processor, as we see in the picture. A food processor is a machine that cuts food into small pieces very quickly. Mike bought a blender to make fruit smoothies for breakfast, but he uses it mainly for margaritas at night. Measuring spoons and measuring cups are very helpful when you are baking. You need to be precise with ratios of each ingredient when you bake, and these help you a lot. If you are baking a cake, it helps if you cover the cake tin in cooking spray or butter before pouring the cake mix. This way, after the cake is baked and cooled, it will come out of the cake tin easily. Be careful when taking a baking tray out of the oven. Be sure to use an oven mitt or oven gloves so that you don't burn your hands. To make sure you don't get food all over your clothes while cooking, you should wear an apron. Baking tray, oven, apron, oven mitts. When making Italian food, it helps to have special tools, like a sieve to drain the water from the pasta, or a garlic press so that you don't have to chop the garlic with a knife. When making a pizza, it helps to have a rolling pin to flatten the dough to make a thin pizza base. Sieve, rolling pin, garlic press. If you are making Asian food, you normally cook the meat and the vegetables in a wok instead of a normal pan. Many people also eat Asian food with chopsticks, which are two long, thick pieces of wood used for eating. They can sometimes be difficult to use if you're not used to them, so you may want to use regular silverware, such as forks, knives, and spoons in the picture. Be careful when you use the can opener. It leaves sharp edges, and you can cut your hand on the rim of the can, the edge. When serving soup, use a ladle or a big spoon so that you don't spill the soup you put in the bowl. A peeler is a tool that helps take the skin or peel off of a fruit or vegetable.